I've got 4 sisters and 1 brother. None of them have ever ridden a horse before in their life. But my dad had a bit of land at home and he was a builder, and he decided he'd get a horse, and he bred from it. So there's a picture of me and a horse when I was 2. From about the age of 12 to 13, I started to cycle, during my summer holidays, 25 miles every day to go and ride racehorses, exercise. That's how much I wanted to do it, So I became a jockey because I loved horses. I was riding out this morning in John O'Neill's, and that's because I like riding horses. I like horses. I like being around them. I just think they're a great animal. They're a great way to spend your life. Being out in the open riding racehorses. I never did a day's work in my life. It's amazing. Yeah. The only time I ever felt really confident or really competent was actually when I was on a horse.
Really?
Before it, afterwards, not so sure, but during it, went out on a horse, and I genuinely thought I had myself convinced that I was, more capable than anyone else.
Your love of Arsenal is well known. How did this love of Arsenal begin?
It started when I was 5. 1979, they won the FA Cup, and obviously they were playing in the yellow strip, and but they had a lot of Irish players, the likes of Liam Brady and Frank Stapleton and Pat Jennings, and so they had a pretty strong Irish contingent. So it kind of went from there. But look, we were spoiled. The invincible team, that had Thierry Henry or Patrick Vieira or, even the likes of Gilberto, Sol Campbell.
But you couldn't go to the stage of saying we need a change of manager.
Look, I have a lot. I'd like someone else to make that decision. I'd like Arsene to be able to make that decision himself.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much the same old.
Yeah.
And you can't keep relying on players that don't produce, because if they don't produce for you, it's your neck on the line. You're the one that's getting the blame. So if it was me personally, I wouldn't be taking the blame from them. I'd be out in some of them, you know what I mean?
Because you made that decision for yourself, obviously. You had doubts about it, your retirement, which was now 2.5 years ago. You had doubts, even right to the end, didn't you?
I still have doubts. I have doubts all the time. You come to this time of the year when you go and ride some of the nice horses, the likes of Manila Rocco that was placed in the Gold Cup last year, and you think, I'd like to be still doing it. But it was one of those decisions where I sort of had always planned it. I didn't want to ever think that someone would think I wasn't as good as I once was. I wanted to go out when I was still champion jockey. It was my 20th year being champion jockey, and as a sports person, the most difficult decision is the hardest one, and that's walking away when you're still successful, But I'm quite stubborn, and I knew it was the right thing, and look, to this day it was probably the right thing, because at some point in a sports person's career there comes a dip, when they're not as good as they once were, and I didn't ever want that to happen. I wanted to beat that. I was very lucky that I broke a lot of records. If someone wins 20 jockey championships when I'm still alive, I'll be gutted. I'll be gutted. I really hope I'm dead. And I've been thinking about it. Richard Johnson will hopefully be champion jockey for the 3rd time this year. He'll be sort of 41 at the end of that season. He's not going to win 20 more, that's for sure. So it's going to, so I've got, so I'll be 44. So I'll have 20 years, and I'll be 64 if someone wins 20 in a row. Hopefully that won't happen in the next 20 years.
So these 2.5 years have not changed your character one little bit?
Well, I wouldn't say they haven't changed my character, but I do think about things like that a little bit. My last year riding, I rode my fastest 50th winner, my fastest 100th winner in a season, and I knew I was retiring that year. No one else did, but I knew. And I said to my wife after I rode my fastest 100th winner, I said, this is the first time in my life I actually think I'm getting the hang of this. Now, whether I was trying to convince myself, make myself happy, make myself feel a sense of achievement, because I knew I was going to be retiring at the end of the season, but I genuinely thought I was, because I'd ridden my fastest 100 winner, so I've spent 20 odd years trying to do something, and all of a sudden at the end of it I'm statistically getting better. In some ways I missed the danger. I missed that risk. I missed that. That's what keeps you alive. I think that film that they made about James Hunt called Rush, when he said that, and James Hunt said, the closer you are to death, the more alive you feel. I totally get it. Totally get it.